Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater. And I just have to say, I'm going to do something in this video that I rarely ever do. And I get called out a lot for it. I get called out all the time. I'm actually going to kind of promote Sony in this particular case. I'm gonna actually kind of defend Sony here. This is a video about me relatively defending Sony for how they're handling the marketing lead up for Ghostbusters Afterlife. Because I normally chastise them for not being able to handle the franchise properly, because there are numerous examples of them not being able to handle franchises properly. Case in point, Ghostbusters 2016. That unmitigated, absolute dumpster fire of a movie will live in infamy as just being the just mediocre trash. And I don't say many bad things about movies, and I tried to like 2016. I did, but it was burned. However, let me get back on point here, because I could spend an hour and a half, 2 hours going off about Ghostbusters 2016, and I've made many videos on the subject. That being said, what I want to give Sony credit here for is actually putting Bill Murray front and center, because this is the absolute smart thing to do. And this article here, exclusive, hanging out with Bill Murray on the set of Ghostbusters Afterlife. The original cast passes the proton pack to a new generation in Jason Reitman's upcoming movie, and obviously they've got a great little collage here of Venkman, and everyone loves Venkman, right? Everyone loves Venkman. That's one of the big reasons why this movie is, I think, going to be as anticipated as it is. And it was smart for Sony to go back and look to see, what do people like about Ghostbusters? Well, Bill freaking Murray is kind of number one. Out of the cast, he's number one. Out of all, like, the Venkman is number one out of the characters. Everyone loves Bill Murray. Put him front and center in the marketing, in the pre-leading up to all this stuff, in the press day, all that stuff. And there's a great story in this Vanity Fair article about how Bill Murray was talking to the writer here, the journalist, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you put on the proton pack? Wear it for 30 minutes, and see how heavy it is." And so, like, more or less joking with this guy about how heavy the proton packs are. And the dude did it. Like, I mean, who wouldn't? Like, if I was on set and Bill Murray came up to me, he's like, "Hey, Matt, you want to see how heavy the proton packs are?" I'd be all like, "Yes, please." And he'd be like, "All right, we got to wear it for 30 minutes. And I'd be like, "Not a problem, sir." Like, what else do you want me to do? Can I wear the jumpsuit? I'm a big dude, but I will fit. I will think thin. I will Winnie the Pooh the hell out of that jumpsuit, sir. Let me rock on with some official merch. Like, that's what I would do. And I probably would cry, like, a lot. And I'm fine with that. I would have no problem going into that creamy, soft, gooey center that is my soul, and then completely accessing my childhood memories, and then just crying on set in front of Bill. It would probably happen. I'm not even gonna lie. It would probably happen. I would probably cry. But that's the story that they're going with here. And it's a great little anecdote. It's like Bill Murray being playful with a journalist on set. He is notoriously enigmatic. He goes out of his way to avoid interviews where possible. He doesn't do a lot of stuff that conventional movie stars do. And he's kind of a hard person to lock down. And putting him in this movie is such a great thing, because it solidifies the direction that they're going. Right. So we have to go back to 2016 for comparison. And again, I apologize, but it's just kind of the way it is. So we have to go back to 2016. In 2016, Bill Murray popped up to play basically like a debunker of the ghosts. He kind of was like a Walter Peck kind of character. If you really go and look at that scene that he's in, he does mimic William Atherton quite a bit. And I was watching it, I'm like, oh, he's channeling William Atherton. And I enjoyed that well enough. But then they killed him off, like, just unceremoniously a minute or two later, and there was no ramifications or repercussions for the fact that they killed off Bill Murray, and that was that. And I'm pretty certain, like, he probably pulled a Harrison Ford and said, "I will come and do this cameo on the condition that you kill me." And Paul Feig's like, "I can't screw that up." And then, of course, he did, because it's Paul Feig, and this was a bad idea from start to finish. However, when Sony realized that 2016 was as big of a failure as it was, and it was a costly failure for the studio, because instead of going back to the prime source and passing the torch and giving fans what they wanted, they screwed up and they rebooted everything. And we know now that people don't want that. I mean, it's one of the reasons why The Rise of Skywalker turned out the way that it did, is because, well, they wanted to bring in legacy characters and like have them be a part of it because that's what fans wanted. That's the fan service fans are asking for and they should get. But unfortunately, that's not what happened in regards to 2016. So and we are like, here's the thing too. I want to quickly point out that I have seen people online today complaining that they're promoting Bill Murray as being in this movie, right? Like literally complaining like, oh no, you shouldn't have him in the movie marketing. You should save the cameo like they did for Zombieland. No. When you're trying to put butts in seats and you're making this effectively Ghostbusters 3, not the Ghostbusters 3 that Dan Aykroyd wrote, but it is Ghostbusters 3, and you're going to have everybody back. And we've already known everybody was going to be back for quite some time. We're talking like 6 months ago, we knew everybody was going to be back in on it. The only person who's a holdout is Rick Moranis, and that should be the cameo that no one knows about. They get the secret Rick Moranis cameo, and that would be the thing that would make everyone lose their mind. But everyone else is expected, and especially Bill Murray. So a few months ago, before all the shooting, or I think it was before they started officially filming the movie last summer, he gave an interview talking about Ghostbusters. And he had said that while they were working on the script, while they were getting this whole thing ready to go, that all of them kind of agreed that they're protectors of the franchise. And this was a subtle kind of FU to 2016, because what he's saying in that moment, and I tried to find the exact quote, I couldn't find it again, but I know what he said, like, we're the protectors of this. And he's talking about how like Ghostbusters 2016 effectively just kind of went its own way and not a lot of people liked it. And that was the big problem. But when you look at what people are asking for with this movie, it is Venkman, it is Zedmore, it is Ray, it is Dana Barrett, it is Janine, it is Slimer, it is Lewis Tuttle. You got to give me my freaking Rick Moranis, man. We got to have Rick Moranis. I'm not going to let that go. I feel like I should find his home address and I should write him a letter and just say, dude, that's all I'm going to say. Just dude, and write him the letter. And that's what I'd like to see, because I freaking love Rick Moranis and I love him in those movies. And I just, right. Just saying that's my thing. I kind of feel like going and watching Ghostbusters 2 right now, because I love that movie. I do. I love that film. I'm kind of all over the place right now. But putting Bill Murray in the marketing solidifies what fans wanted. They wanted the original team. And they know that this is a passing a torch sort of film. And they get that. And they're okay with that. Most fans are absolutely okay with that, because this movie is going to touch on the right amounts of nostalgia while also working to advance the needle. Something that 2016 didn't do. And that is because of the crappy ass reboot. But this time around, they want to make sure Venkman's going to be there. That, we know Harold Ramis is gone, and that's going to be a big part of the family. The family's clearly, Egon's family. And so they're going to come on in and pass the torch and help out. Never mind the whole connection to Igor Shandor, or Ivar Shandor, and how that whole thing is going to like blow fans' minds when that comes out. If you have not picked apart how this movie is going to connect Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters the video game, which I'm assuming is now canon again. I'm assuming because like they just remastered it and they just re-released it, which means it would technically be considered canon, I think. And I think even Ivan Reitman has backed off of that. It's no longer canon, which I caught him on film saying that like 3 years ago. But it's like Ivar Shandor was a big part of Ghostbusters the video game, and it ties into the other movies, and it's tying into this film. So there's some connectivity there. So you've got to have everybody back. And also you've got to prove to the audience that didn't show up for Ghostbusters 2016, that felt let down by Ghostbusters 2016, that this is not that movie. This is not a continuation of that. Not yet. I do believe that's going to happen, though. I do think they're going to tie them together. It just, I know I don't want it either, but that's the world we live in. Business is business, and it made enough money to warrant bringing back some of the characters for a potential crossover down the road. We'll talk about that later. But by having Bill Murray be front and center for right now, it just reinforces that they believe in the franchise. Now, there's also a great quote that Jason Reitman had said, and I think it's I don't know if it's the Vanity Fair, but he said to other people, he goes, they asked him, who are you making this movie for? Right? And that's a question that they get asked quite often. And the answer that they get, that, you know, you'll hear in these kind of situations, most people say are, we're doing it for the fans. And that is something that was said. Jason Reitman did say that, and he caught a lot of pushback for it in that, like, about a year ago when the first movie, when it was announced. He said, we're giving it back to the fans. And that ended up really causing some ire with the 2016 stans, who are very vocal when they get pissy on the internet. But this time around, he changed his answer and he says, I'm doing it for my father. Because, and that I loved. I love that line, because what he's referring to there is, like, he grew up around Ghostbusters. He is a self-admitted first Ghostbusters fan. This is his childhood. And he gets to go back to the sandbox he played in as a kid and build his own castle, and with all the same toys and with all the same things. And he wants to do it to honor his dad. And, like, you can't, like, again, that's another fantastic element of it. And I think they should play that up. Ivan Reitman directed 1, directed 2, worked on the script, was as instrumental to Ghostbusters as Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Bill Murray, you know, Ernie Hudson, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis, you know, Andy Potts, all those characters, right? He's as instrumental to its success, and he never gets to play. And the fact that his son, who's coming back, is doing it for his dad as a love letter to his dad, I love that. And I think that's in part what got Bill Murray back. And he kind of talks about that in the article too. He mentions how much he loves the script. There's a lot of heart in the script, and that was a passing the torch. And I think that's why. I think he feels protective over the brand. He feels protective over Ghostbusters. And as a result of that, he wants to make sure that it's in the right hands going forward. And this is what they should have done in 2016. This is what fans have been asking for since 1989. This is what fans have been wanting. Not a reboot that is basically like a Will Ferrell ad-libbed comedy, who I will arguably say the one credit I give Ghostbusters 2016 was it showed us that Chris Hemsworth can be funny, which I think was great. And other than that, it was just, but that's not Ghostbusters. It's not Ghostbusters, but this is Ghostbusters. This feels like Ghostbusters. That trailer was great. I loved it. And putting Bill Murray in the marketing shows us that Sony is aware of the situation. They're aware of where things went wrong, and they're fixing it by proving to the fans that the one person who's been elusive, enigmatic, and holding up the project for years is on board. If that's not a show of confidence, if that's not a way to show the fans that this is where things are going, that we're headed down the right path, then I don't know what is. But this is not something that should be hidden. This is not something that should not be there. This should be spotlighted. This should be golden idol. And that's a bit too far probably, but it should be out there. It should be talked about. Everyone should be going like, wait, are we straight? Are we confirmed? Bill Murray's back? Oh my God, Venkman's back. Oh crap. Great. Perfect. Dan Aykroyd. Everyone's back on board, man. Except Rick Moranis. God damn it. Give me Rick Moranis. I'm hoping that's a cameo. All I'm saying is I'm excited for Afterlife. I think it's probably, out of all the movies I want to see this year, I think it's probably number 1 that I want to see, because I'm such a fan of the original 2 movies, and having lived, 4 years ago through Ghostbusters 2016 and all the nonsense and crap, and having been called all the names I was called because I was reporting on the fact that the director and the cast and the studio head were attacking the fan base, that were critical of very poor marketing of a very terrible movie. It's great to see them actually go back to the drawing board and go, this is where we went wrong, and let's not do that again. It's one of the reasons why Sonic the Hedgehog is looking at like a $40 million opening weekend in February, when they pushed it back because the fans were like, that animation was crap. And they're like, you know what? You're right. We're going to go fix it. Even if it's going to delay us a little bit and cost about another, I think like $8 to $10 million, we're going to make sure this movie is right. And the fans are already looking at that movie like they're going to go give the money, because they've got they were treated with respect. And that, at the end of the day, is what this whole thing is about. By showcasing Bill Murray, it's showing the fans that they are treating the franchise with respect, that they are giving the fans what they want. And this is what we've been waiting literally 31 years for. And you might sit there and get to this part in the video and go, you're just a man, baby, who just wants Ghostbusters. I'm like, look, man, I like the franchise, and I'm a big fan of all of it, and I want to see it be successful, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And so showing me this nice little anecdotal story of Bill Murray handing a journalist a proton pack to wear for 30 minutes to mess with them a little bit, to show how heavy it is, fills me with all sorts of hope, because it's Bill Murray having fun. And when Bill Murray has fun, man, the rest of us are having fun too. Anyway, those are just my thoughts on this. I do want to hear your thoughts. If you made it this far, do me a solid. Type Ghostbusters in the comment box so I know you made it. And if you want, hit subscribe, hit that like, hit that bell. I'll be covering Ghostbusters Afterlife all the way up to its release, and then definitely having posts and all that kind of stuff. That being said, thank you guys so much for listening to this. This is a 15-minute long rant that I had not planned, but it just kind of happened, and I appreciate you making it this far. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. Hey, thank you very much for watching the video. If you want to keep the conversation going, and if you've made it this far, you clearly do, come on in and join the Discord. Link is in the video description. Can't wait to see you there. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.